Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. Let's sit for a few minutes while we wait for people to trickle in. Mazu said, the whole meaning of your life is in the current matter. The whole meaning of your life is in the current matter. So that's where we start today. Just feeling for yourself right now. What is the current matter? It's a remarkable thing to just stop moving for a minute, let your life arrive, let it catch up to you. Feeling the cold in my fingers from the first breaths of autumn, the whirring of my computer. What if there's nothing else but this? What if? And you can feel this moment stretching out all the way to the end and all the way to the beginning. Another way to say it would be that it never started, it never ended. But here it is. You can feel the vastness of it all right here. Okay, then. Sometimes when I do these things, I feel like I feel like I've got a secret joke that only I know because I get the giggles for some reason. I just feel like this kind of surge of joy, and but I don't know what the joke is either. It's like I don't know. Somebody else has the joke, and it's kind of a funny thing. I don't mind it. That's for sure. It's nice to be. It's nice to get the reap the benefits of a good joke, even if I'm not let in on the meaning. So I thought getting over a cold, so forgive me. I'll probably be blowing my nose and clearing my throat, drinking lots of water. So one of the things, for whatever reason, that's been sticking to me is all these koans about Bodhidharma, and we've got a whole series of them in our tradition, and you can find a bunch of them in the Blue Cliff Record, and we'll take a look at some of those this morning. But there's always some big question. The question is always, why did Bodhidharma come from the West? Right. So we're talking about like being in China and whatever year that was. Why did Bodhidharma bring Chan from India to China? Why did he make that great pilgrimage? And it's kind of a stand-in question for, you know, I don't know if you've ever been to Dokusan and you've gone to see the teacher and you didn't really have anything to say or ask, or maybe you didn't know what to ask, or maybe you had a question but you didn't know how to articulate it, or you feel like you've got to ask something. And so it seems like this became this kind of cliche question about, well, at least we can ask this question: why did Bodhidharma come from the West? So you get all these great conversations. A student asked Zhang Lin, why did Bodhidharma come from the West? Zhang Lin said, sitting for a long time is tiring. Just notice how that response lands in you. Like, where does it land in you? Sitting for a long time is tiring. And you can feel your way into, actually take a moment now and feel your way into, like, what is the spirit of, you've been that student before, whether it's in a Zen context or somewhere else in your life. You've got this question. What is your question? It is a question. Who allowed people to unmute themselves? So what is that? What, like, can you find your way into the heart of the questioner? What's that like? You might have your own question about your own life, or who you are, where you're going, something that happened days or weeks or decades ago that you're still trying to work out, pops up every once in a while. I have lots of things with, like, relationships, old relationships that pop up, and they pop up in dreams. And I don't really have a question about why they didn't work, because it's really clear why they didn't work. Well, that's interesting, actually, too, that I say, well, it's really clear why they didn't work. And my immediate explanation is because I was a hot mess at the time. That's why they didn't work. And probably anybody looking back on that would, wouldn't be difficult to agree with me on that. Well, yes, Jesse, you were a hot mess, and that's why they broke up with you, or whatever it is. That's why it didn't work. But I don't know. That's a pretty limited explanation. You know? So, but to have that question about whatever it is, it might be some core question about what brought you to Zen. Also, if you want to fit it into the literal Zen context, what is the question? It might not even be a question that you can articulate into words, which is where the question of, well, what did Bodhidharma come? Like, is that really your question? Did you pick that up from the person in front of you in the Dokusan line, and you heard them ask the teacher, and so you thought, oh, I'd better ask that. That's a question to ask. So it's another kind of fun thing, is like, what questions actually belong to you about your life? And what questions have you sort of absorbed from other people or the culture? Or I noticed my question about, am I good looking enough, has faded quite a bit from 10 years ago. Like, it's not really one that I ask very often anymore. Look in the mirror, good enough. Probably also helps being married for 15 years. Some of those anxieties sort of wear away. But am I a good person? Am I better than my sibling? Did this person ever really love me? Am I on the right path? Am I in the right career? Am I in the right relationship? What's the best use of my time? What parts of me that I encounter are really me and really not me? Or, should I work on improving myself in some way? Or should I work on accepting myself, or whatever? Like, just a few of the bazillion questions. And you might also be listening to my list of questions and going, well, I don't know, I don't really have those questions anymore. Sometimes that happens, right? They get put to rest, and but you might have other questions. And they might be questions about other people. That's kind of an interesting thing too. Why does my child do this? Why does my partner do this? Why does my sister, brother, mother, friend, why did they do that? And it's remarkable to see the mind's ability to fill in the blanks. Really, like, resists uncertainty at a fundamental level. I think I just read a study that I might be misinterpreting, but whatever, we'll go with it. where they were looking at how like human, even at the cellular level, human brain cells like predictability. They don't like disorganized stimuli. They like things that are predictable. No, you know, so do we to some degree. So all that blank space about why and what's that person thinking and what's going to happen next, and that vast unknowingness. Try that on for a second. Close your eyes and just feel, what can you know right now? Like, what can you really know? And you notice that whatever you can really know, you didn't have to reach out to get. So this Bodhidharma, he's already here, or she's already here. They're already here. However, you notice that, like, actually, and it's in the reaching too. Yes, I know, but when you stop reaching, when the mind stops reaching, it's not that you have to like try to make your mind stop reaching, because if it's reaching, then it's reaching, and good luck. It's like how do you stop a rhino from charging or something? But you notice that moment when the mind stops reaching, that it's already here. You know, all of it is already here. It's a great line from Case One from the Blue Cliff Record, which is Bodhidharma and Emperor Wu and Bodhidharma. You probably, if you hung around PZI for like 5 minutes, you probably heard this koan about 12 times. But so Bodhidharma goes to visit Emperor Wu, who's a great supporter of Buddhism, and they have this great dialogue. And at the end, it's clear that Emperor Wu doesn't really get it. What Bodhidharma is saying: vast emptiness, nothing holy. Who are you standing in front of me? I don't know, and all of that. And so then Bodhidharma is like, well, all right, that was whatever. I'm going to go do my next thing. And the emperor's, one of his closest confidants, Duke Ji, said, Your Majesty, do you know who that was? I don't know, said the emperor. That was the great Bodhisattva Guan Yin, bringing the mind seal of the Buddha. The emperor was filled with regret and wanted to send a messenger to ask Bodhidharma to come back. Like, you ever had that experience in your life where something happens and you go, oh God, send somebody, get this person back, get this set of circumstances back. Can I get a do-over on that interview, whatever it was? The Duke said, there's no point, Your Majesty. Even if everyone in the country went after him, he wouldn't return. And then later on, when Bodhidharma died, here's the punchline I'm going for. When Bodhidharma died, Emperor Wu wrote an inscription for his monument. What a shame. I saw him without seeing him. I met him without meeting him. I still regret this deeply. That's kind of a great thing. Like, in what way am I seeing but not seeing my life? Meeting but not meeting my life? Everything from the cold, getting over the cold, to, the cat that was sitting in my lap a moment ago. And so we come to all these kind of great dialogues. The first one I gave you, why did Bodhidharma come from the West? Sitting for a long time is tiring. It's kind of clever. And then we got another one. Long Ya asked Kui Wei, why did Bodhidharma come from the West? Kui Wei said, pass me that meditation brace. So back in the day, they'd have like a piece of wood that they prop up under their chin so that if they fell asleep while they were meditating, they wouldn't fall over. Sitting for a long time is tiring. Pass me that meditation brace. Long Ya passed him the meditation brace, and Kui Wei took it, hit him with it. Long Ya said, I accept that you can hit me, but that doesn't show me Bodhidharma's intention. So, I mean, I can appreciate that he's sticking to his guns, but he's not quite here yet. Kui Wei is trying to get him here. Come back to your own life. then Long Yao, he's dissatisfied with that answer, I guess. And so he went and asked Lin Ji. It was great. Like if you're looking for a softer way, going to Lin Ji is probably not the person you're going to get it from. But why did Bodhidharma come from the West? Pass me that cushion, said Lin Ji. And you should have like, come on. You should know by now. So Long Yao passed it to him, and Lin Ji took it and hit him with it. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice. Long Yao said, I accept that you can hit me, but that still doesn't show me Bodhidharma's intention. So it's kind of great. Like, you can appreciate that he's sticking to his guns about it, but also he's not like, still not here, still not here, still not in your own life, still not here, And there's this beautiful thing about you can ask the universe any question and it will answer. It always answers. It just might not be in the same form of the question that you answered. You get like, what's this magician? God, I was like, I don't know, I was scrolling and I watched this magician who was doing like a street show, and he had cups and balls, and and he did this great thing about he'd pull up the cup and there'd be a ball, and then he'd take it and put it in his pocket and put the cup down, and he'd go, how many balls? Somebody would say, no balls. And he'd pick it up, oh, there's a ball. And then he'd put it in his pocket and he'd put the cup back down. How many balls? No, but oh, he picks it up and there's a ball. How many balls? And then somebody goes, somebody gets clever and they go, well, it's going to be one ball. And he picks it up and there's an orange underneath. It's like, that's what koans do, right? 2 + 2 = orange. And it's like that with the universe, always, 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 always. We come in with some, even if the question feels enormous, it's much smaller than the answer that the universe is going to give us, which is kind of a fun, like, you got to have a sense of humor about your questions at some point, whatever they are, because like, God, they're so small, and not that they don't mean something to us, but also there's something larger and more interesting that's available, that's always being offered. My cat, I think he needs to go to the litter box. Yeah, man. Okay. Get on down there. And you have things like that too, where some little part of me said, well, you can't interrupt a Zen talk to let the cat out of the litter box. Can I? Is that allowed? And pass me that meditation brace. Can I blow my nose during a Zen talk? Can I? So that's a lot of my questions. It's kind of interesting to notice just in a 10-second time span, there's a lot of my questions are about, am I allowed to, is it okay to, will I still be a good person if, will you still love me if, and it's interesting to talk with, I'm talking with a lot of people right now who are having relationship issues, and particularly issues of trust, and trying to figure out what their partner is thinking and why they're doing what they're doing. And it's as though if I can just figure out what they're thinking and why they're doing what they're doing, then that will guide me. Then I will know what to do. And I can certainly appreciate that, but also, I don't know. The meaning of your whole life is right here in this very matter. Why did my partner say that thing they said? Pass me that meditation brace. Come here, come here, come here into your own life. You're already here. You don't need to like jump into somebody else's mind. And then it gets kind of fun. Like, if I talk to 2 people and then I go, well, what were you thinking? And they say, well, I was thinking this thing. And the other person, like, oh, it's totally not what the other person thought they were thinking at that time. And if I look at my own motivations, I don't know what I'm thinking most of the time when I'm doing what I'm doing. The reasons that I give for why I do what I do, or the decisions that I made, are usually ones that I've made up after the fact, that are kind of like, rationalizations. That's why I did what I did. But I don't know. I don't know. Even to say I did what I did because I was scared or because I was angry. I don't know. It might be larger than that. You know? The whole universe might be playing a role in whatever I did. It might be doing something through me, which might have nothing to do with my partner, might have nothing to do with my job, or might have nothing to do with, which is kind of an interesting thing. So I suppose it's respecting the mystery away and including the undefinable X factor into my equations. And I might be able to solve the equation and get a nice round number, but I'd have to ignore all the variables that I couldn't solve. We'll just like cut those out and take them aside. And now it's solvable, but what about the Big Bang? That's always a good explanation for things. Why didn't you load the dishwasher? Well, the Big Bang. It's as good an explanation as any. So here's another one. Actually, really, I think this is my favorite of all the Bodhidharma question koans. A student asked great ancestor Ma, leaving aside the 4 propositions and letting go of the 100 negations, please directly point at the meaning of why Bodhidharma came from the West. So you can tell the questions are getting more refined. Not talking to me about meditation braces or these other things, like I know they're playing games with me. And if I can just get straight to the point, they will answer, So you can tell that's also the thing about the reaching out for. It's kind of a funny thing. Somebody else has it. And if I can just convince them to give it to me, then I'll have it too. Whatever it is. The answer, love, approval. Ma said, today I'm worn out and can't explain it to you. Go find Ji Zong and ask him. So there it gives like you got to trust the old teachers. Right? They're giving the full presentation right there. Oh man, I'm tired. I can't talk to you about this right now. And so then student went to Ji Zong, who said, "Why don't you ask his reverence?" It was great ancestor Ma. Well, he told me to ask you. So he's like, tell the student is he's still caught up in his questioning. He's caught up in the reaching past the experience. And so they're having a bit of fun with him. And he's just bouncing around like a pinball. We'll go ask this person. We'll go ask that person. Why didn't you ask it? Well, because I. So Jizong said, so why didn't you ask his reverence? He told me to ask you. Well, today I have a headache and I can't explain it to you. Go find elder brother Hai and ask him. So then the student went and asked Hai, who said, since I got here, I've never been able to explain that. It's kind of great. So the student told great ancestor Ma, he went back, he circled around and told Ma about his experiences with the other people in the monastery. And Ma just said, Jizong's hair is white, brother Hai's hair is black. So back to the matter at hand. One's hair is white, one's hair is black. You can go, there's like deeper stuff to that, but always just right here. Where are you trying to go? Right here. No, but my question, right here. And then of course there's the really classic one about the why did Bodhidharma come from the West? Oak tree in the garden, or cypress tree in the garden, Bohea tree in the forest. Cold in the fingers. My fingers are cold this morning. So what would be your response? Somebody came and asked you, why did Bodhidharma come from the West? What is one true thing that you could say? One true thing. That's all it takes. One true thing to open the body of reality, or to invite someone into the body of reality. That's the great thing about this practice is the ancestors are always here with us. Buddha's always here with us. Bodhidharma's always here with us. We don't have to go anywhere to find them. And so we can, I was going to say we could let ourselves into the mystery, but we could also just stop keeping ourselves out of the mystery, like clinging to our stories and whatnot. So, why did Bodhidharma come from the West? And just look into, you just sit with the question and look inside yourself and and whatever whatever your question is. And it might be a big overarching question about your whole life or about who you are, or it might be something about a more current matter in your life. How do I dot dot dot? Why did this person dot dot dot? Am I dot dot dot? Or why am I? And one interesting thing is just to sit with all the narratives that the mind gives. Some of us are more imaginative than others, and so or imaginative about certain things rather than others, and so you may have a lot of material to sort through. Also, you notice the sorting is not your job, even the sorting, like Psyche and Aphrodite's tower, given the giant pile of seeds and grains to sort. It's not even really something that we can accomplish. Like Zen is not something that we can accomplish. Life is not something that we can accomplish. And so if you can just show up for the work, you notice meditation does it. The koan does it. Like in Psyche's story, ants just show up. They take pity on her and they show up and help her. A Russian fairy tale, a young woman has a little wooden doll in her pocket that helps her accomplish the impossible tasks. And so our task is really just to be here and avail ourselves of the question, the asking of the question, which also happens on its own. All the stories that come up out of it. And you notice as you sit with the stories and you start to sink below them, and you become vulnerable to something larger and more true about whatever your question is. Why did Bodhidharma come from the West? If you're sitting with whatever your Bodhidharma question might be, your own personal Bodhidharma question, then you notice like the it can be such a nuanced thing. It's not just some little question that you've got in your mind. In a way, it is what Mazu was saying about the whole of the meaning of your life rests in this current matter. You can feel the question in your body. Keeping company with a question that's really powerful for us changes the world around us in a way. Reality organizes around it. And so you can just notice those aspects of it too. And a lot of times these questions have a lot of knowing in them, like this kind of delusional knowing about there's some assumption. The question might be based on some assumption. Why does my brother hate me? For example, there's a lot of knowing in that. Why does my wife still love me even though I've gained so much weight? There's a lot of knowing in that. You notice in your meditation that nothing's being hidden from you. That's a remarkable thing. That's like the thing about meditation, that it's a helpful place for the mind to start to rest. And then when it comes to rest and it stops reaching, then you realize everything is already here. And that actually the response that the universe is giving you predates even your question. Just kind of beautiful. This is from Dongshan's Five Ranks. It's past midnight. The moon has not yet risen. In the deep dark, we see a face from long ago, but you don't recognize her. Don't think that's strange. In a way, that's our practice. Don't make that face strange. The one from the deep dark from long ago that you don't recognize. Don't make that face strange. Well, you might find yourself here. You're sleeping late. When you wake up, you come upon an ancient mirror and you see your own face clearly. Try not to lose sight of it again and go chasing shadows. So if you see the face that you don't recognize that comes from the shadows, just don't make that face strange. Don't make it a stranger. But if you see that face in the mirror and you see it clearly and that it's you, see if you can stay with it. You don't have to go out chasing shadows, making that face strange again. And then the next step is you're in the middle of nothing. You're in the middle of nothing. That's a koan in and of itself. You're in the middle of nothing. There is a road that has no dust. Nothing impure, nothing that obscures. You're in the middle of nothing. There is a road that has no dust. Actually, it's a description of our lives right now, but if we make the face a stranger, we don't see it. You're in the middle of nothing. There is a road that has no dust. Just don't mention the names of sages and emperors, like Bodhidharma, for example. Then you'll be more eloquent than they were in ancient times. Why did Bodhidharma come from the West? Sitting for a long time is tiring. Why did Bodhidharma come from the West? I still haven't gotten over this cold, even after 3 weeks. I would love to hear from some of you, any of you, about, I don't know, whatever this is bringing up. You got your own Bodhidharma questions, or what did you notice in meditation this morning, or what's arising from you? And just, if you can raise your Zoom hand, that's best because it's easier for me to catch you. But if you raise your real fleshy hand, I'll try to catch that as well. Yeah, any.
I live in Maine, and last week, 18 people were killed in a bowling alley not too far away from where I live. And constantly they were on TV, they were showing a photograph of the killer, the face of the killer, over and over and over again. And now they're showing the faces of all the victims, photographs of these victims. And that's one piece. And then another piece is recently we went to a museum in Quebec and saw some incredible Inuit art. And there were some incredible pieces that showed shaman who were transforming from humans into animals. And, you know, maybe someone would have a human body and two bird heads or whatever. And there would be a piece of sculpture with a face in it, of a woman in it. And there were faces, and the faces stuck in my mind. And so just thinking about not letting faces be strange. And realizing that, you know, these people, the killer, of course he's strange, but you know, he was a human being, and the people who were killed, they're all their smiling faces on the TV. You know, they're human beings behind these faces. And so, you know, also really seeing, really letting those faces penetrate my heart, rather than just seeing them on the screen. Anyway, that's what I was reminded of.
No, that's really beautiful. Thank you. And it really touches me. And I think, yeah, I mean, what you bring up is such an important, particularly, I mean, I don't know, we say like, right now we're living in such crazy times. I don't know, maybe all times are crazy times, but it's certainly easy to look around and see, like you said, Pete, just craziness going on, and incredible tragedy and terror and sadness. And so, yeah, and I think all of these questions are about just what you said. How do we meet that when it shows up in our life? And then, of course, there are questions that are banned. Well, what made him do it? And what about then? What, you know, how could this have been prevented? And I mean, the questions are endless, right? Yeah, which is in a sense, I mean, that same question of why did Bodhidharma come from the West? And yet your response seems much more full-hearted to me than it's just, I'm just met by however that meets me. And what a tremendous thing that is to not make that face, even make that face inside of us strange. Whatever might come up, the rage, the terror, the sadness, the whatever it is. So I appreciate you bringing that into the room today. And my heart goes out to you and your community. That's a big thing. Did you want to say anything more? Okay. Yeah, nice. What you said was complete, I think. Cool. Thank you, Annie. And Bill and Mike, you guys have for us?
I started out with why did I volunteer to be the chairman of this committee? And my whole now is filled with fear. And I kind of like, oh. And then I thought, well, what's the trying to reach out of this? And it was wanting the fear to go away. And then I drifted. My question drifted to, is this all there is? Like the song. And I really feel right now, is this all there is? So that's kind of my thing. And it kind of, you know, my is this all there is doesn't have a vastness in it, which makes me kind of sad.
I like that actually. A question. I wonder if it came up for me at the same time as it came up for you today. That why did I volunteer to do this Sunday? And then I show up and like, oh, this is wonderful. This is great. And it is completely unlike anything I could have expected. Remarkable thing. And then so interesting how the question might shift from why did I agree to do this thing to, well, what is this thing anyway? You know, like for me, the why did I volunteer? Because I'm tired and I'm getting over, so why did I volunteer? And it had all this knowing in it about what doing Sunday would be, well, I'm just gonna have to like think about things to say and all these things. And I didn't do any of that stuff. And actually, it's really fun. I like that. But yeah, I think actually that's a true question. Why did I volunteer to be chairman? That was a bad move. Bob, what do you got for us?
Jesse, I'm waving the white Kleenex of coldness. I surrender.
Brother.
Yeah, no kidding. And I'm just a week in, and you're saying 3 weeks. I'm like, okay, thanks for the good news. But anyways, I'm the meditation was lovely, and where I went with it was, or where it went with me was, it was right beside Bodhidharma on the path, and there was dust coming up. We had sandals, and then my beloved Brenda joined in, and then everybody joined in, and everybody on this call joined in. It was this huge crowd, and we're just walking together. And then it felt like it was time to just run freely. And that was so, thank you.
Oh, nice. Thanks, Bob. Good to hear your voice, see your face. And I've got a toddler who's just went into preschool, so maybe your cold will be shorter. That's trying to decide why Bodhidharma came from the West. Anyone else? What's coming up for you? Yeah, Chris.
Yeah. For me, the first thing that arrived was why did the chicken cross the road? And it kind of then turned into, as you talked about, like, well, I don't have to worry about my looks anymore, kind of thing. It's like, well, because then that's what sort of that turned into is like, well, yes, because once that turned into an issue, I guess, of enough and lack of like, well, if I can get into a relationship, then that's this form of entrapment kind of thing. Because clearly, I'm not going to have the looks after a while. So if I can just get to this point, then I don't need to worry about it after that. Which is like, which then kind of arrived as like, really, are you sure so soon? That you're giving up on this, and that kind of turned it. Well, now we're falling down the well together, and it's like, oh, good. Well, now we're alive, which is what I loved about the Emperor Wu on the tombstone at the end. Is as sad as that felt to me, then I realized how sad it was of like, not only did he miss Bodhidharma when he was there, how much of his own life did he miss by hanging on to this regret, which clearly he didn't let go of even after Bodhidharma was dead. So how much of his own life did he miss by not even being in his own life when that moment was long gone? So just in terms of, I don't know, to get to the other side, it's like, well, yes, but all those things, it's like, if I worry about all the other things of why he's crossing, I've missed the crossing. So I don't know. I really enjoyed today. Thanks.
That's great. I love that. Yeah. And I wonder, here's a Bodhidharma question. I wonder if he could really meet that regret, even about like, can anybody show me Emperor Wu's regret over not meeting Bodhidharma? Anyone? Can you show it to me now? Yeah, there it is. Emperor Wu is here, walks among us. Yeah, so that's great. Thank you, Chris. Philip, where did you go? You keep hopping around my screen. There you are.
Hi, Jesse. Thank you. So I've been sitting with Make Yourself a Raft all week because of the temples. And one thing that keeps popping up for me, which connects to your talk and the question of why does my brother hate me, is that like that's like a very tense relationship for me. And I often find myself making myself a raft, or like trying to make myself a raft. And this other story keeps laying itself over that, which is the story of the frog who rafts the scorpion over the river. And the scorpion promises the frog that he just wants to get across the river. He promises he won't sting him. But of course, the scorpion stings the frog at the other shore, and the frog dies. And I feel like that cycle keeps repeating itself I feel very froggy. And you know, so that's where I am. And in addition to all that, like, I'm full of joy because my brother had a kid this past week, his first son. So so speaking of faces and like just being with this new kid, this new being, and like seeing the faces of our ancestors flash up through this kid's face is like so amazing and wild. And so I'm full of love for everyone and my brother and everything. And at the same time, I can already see him making these moves that are like moves of deep distrust and manipulation. You know, the trust thing seems to be really amped up from this, from everything that's going on now, and from the eclipse and everything. So I don't know what my question is in the midst of all that, but there's the evidence.
That's really great. I love, like, wow, what an incredibly rich. I mean, there's just so much going on there, right? And like, and you notice like the I kind of like that you're not even sure what your question is, because like because the mind will try to like compress it down to a, you know, try to distill it down, which is it like the students that keep going from person to person asking the same question. That's like it's right here, it's right here, it's right here. What does water taste like? It's right, you know. What do trees look like? It's right here. And then the mind keeps trying to make it small again. And then it gets, and so that's the face. Yeah, if we don't make it strange, if we don't try to make things small, then actually, oh, it's my face that I see in the mirror. And there's not a single spot of dust on the road. And as long as I don't bring in, as long as I don't start dividing up the world and bringing in ancestors and who's enlightened and who's not and who's wrong and who's right and all that, then actually the whole thing is just, it's just appearing all the time, along with all the, you make me think of the, we have a pair of koans in our miscellaneous thing. There are a couple of modern koans. Save the person jumping from the 100th floor of the World Trade Towers. How do you save that person? Yeah. And it's the same as when you gave your response to my question about show me Emperor Wu's regret not meeting Bodhidharma. Same thing. Mm-hmm. And then the second part of that koan is make the twin towers stand back up again. How do you show that? What is that in your own life? And so I'm really touched actually by I didn't mean to bring us into this territory, but we seem to be bringing up this really rich, like painful stuff for people this morning. And I just say thanks for bringing in your heart, Philip and Annie and Bob and Chris and everyone, Bill and Mike, who I always get mixed up. But oh, nice. Yeah. Anything else to say about that, Philip?
Ribbit.
Ouch! Ribbit. Yeah.
Ribbit.
Yeah. Show me a frog getting stung by a scorpion. Like all the way
well,
through.
the thing is, we're both of them, I guess. You know, there's many multiple castings going on here.
Nice. That's great. That's kind of that's a fun, like, oh, everything gets wider when you go, oh, I wonder if I'm sometimes the scorpion and
Right.
the frog, or even I'm the river and the scorpion, the frog are trying to cross me, or yeah, that's really great. Nice. Thank you. Appreciate it. Anyone else? Oh yeah, Karin.
So thank you, Jesse. Awesome. The question that came up was, why am I so sad? And it's not the question I wanted to ask, because I've had this experience or this sense of swimming in sadness for, just a lot of sadness for a long time, decades. Like I exude sadness. And so it's not the question I wanted to ask, but it felt like the most true question, and an unanswered, has always felt so unanswerable. Like why, a million reasons why. It's this, it's that, what could I be doing better to get rid of the sadness or heal it, all those things. And there was something you said about, I can't remember what you said, and something like see what the universe has to say about it. I thought, oh well, why not? Let's see, instead of what I have to say, what about the universe? And I had a sudden image come up of like a little winking sunset saying, come on in, over the ocean, like come on in, a little cheeky, like come on in. And I thought, okay. And suddenly it was like the flip, not the flip side, but it's like, oh, this sadness is love. The universe was, I just felt this loving invitation. It's like, oh, it's love. And I don't know, tears just started coming down. And it's like this heart, there's something about the sadness that has to do with love, like loving, or it's part of love. And that's not at all what I expected. And it was unaccountably wonderful. So that's what happened today.
Nice. Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? Like you don't necessarily get an answer to your question, but it's something widens, and then somehow it like eclipses the question for me, or it makes the question irrelevant in some way, or it heals the question. You don't really get an answer, but something larger appears. Oh, that's beautiful. Like, yeah, why am I so sad? I was having a similar sort of question over the last couple of days. Why am I such an asshole? Particularly when I get sick, I get really cranky. And why am I such a jerk? How do I stop being such a jerk? Da, 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 da. Do I need to do this? Do I need to do that? Whatever the thing is. And I know what you mean, yeah. And being here, something being here with you all, something like you said, opens up, and oh, there's just love there. And oh, thank you. It's a good question. Yeah, Bill and Mike again.
A lot of these questions brought up another question for me. How do I know when things go wrong? How do I know when things go wrong? If I think they're wrong, they may not be wrong. If I don't think they're wrong, they may be wrong. You know what I mean? Really. I mean, all the horrors in the world today. How do I know when things go wrong? I don't have an answer.
Yeah. I mean, that's a great question. That's one of those solvent questions. Well, but how do I know? Yeah. And points to the thing about underneath so many of our questions is way too much knowing about which the basic knowing is this shouldn't be happening. I shouldn't be sad. People shouldn't be dying. That person shouldn't have left me. I shouldn't have said this hurtful thing. I should, or whatever it is. Yeah. How do I know that that was a mistake? What's my evidence? The whole rest of the universe seems to go along with the fact that this thing happened. And so, yeah. And I think that's, for me, that's just the resistance in a way that like my scope has gotten so small, it resists there's some fear in that for me. I think there can be when I get really small. I'm afraid of the larger perspective because I don't know. I just am. And what is that? And can I meet the fear without making it strange, or whatever it is, the feeling of wrongness. Yeah. I think that's one of the interesting things, is to meet that feeling of wrongness, that this shouldn't have happened, without then trying to make that wrong. Well, I'm a Zen person and everything's empty, and so I should just, everything's, or whatever it is. Like, yeah, well, okay. When, 18 people are senselessly murdered in your community, how do you, or whatever it is, when you lose someone you love, or when you're, there's no way to make sense of that. I think that's one of the things that Zen, that I really respect and appreciate about Zen as a path, is that it doesn't try to make everything right. Doesn't try to make everything okay. Doesn't try to give an explanation for, well, but that person's in heaven now, or I mean, nothing wrong if that's your jam, nothing wrong with it. Just doesn't vibe with me. Like, I don't know. It just says, yeah, that's fucking sad, huh? Or whatever it is. It doesn't make the face strange, whatever it is, the tragedy, the rage, the whatever it is. And that's our life. The meaning of your life is contained within this current matter. See if you can not make it strange. Anything else if you want to say? Okay. Thanks for that. Yeah, Ellen, and then we'll, oh my gosh, we're going to have to wrap it up. But I'm having so much fun.
Well, I can't see myself. So that's very strange.
Yeah.
I'm actually contacting you because I wanted to know if you could see me, because I can't look in the mirror of Zoom and see myself.
All I see is myself, Ellen. It's
You
like
don't,
I'm looking in an ancient mirror and all I see is my own face.
that's what I mean. I don't see me either. So, and my
Now we have entered the place where the sons and daughters of the Buddha live.
yeah, right.
That's great.
So I don't get it. My camera's on, but I'm glad that you can hear me, but you can't see me.
No, I can see you. I'm just messing with you.
Can see me?
I can see you.
How come I can't see me? It's that strange.
That's great. Jesse can see me. Why can't I see me? Excellent. That is your koan.
That is like,
Nice. Thank you, Ellen. It's kind of great. Like, funny how the whole universe participates in this thing. You know, whatever it is that we're doing. It's like, I know that if I try to have a Zoom call with somebody, for example, and like the internet keeps breaking down, and thing, it's like, well, maybe, I mean, we might be able to trust that. And what is that? The whole meaning of your life is in this current matter. Other people can see me, but I can't. That's an interesting thing. Thank you. That seems complete. Ellen. And then yes, one more person, and then we'll leave it there. Okay. Richard will be our last voice for the day.
So following on Ellen's, I was sitting here thinking, and I came to a writing, and so I'll read the writing. It says, I'm in a container. The container is transparent. The container is within a container, also transparent. I am transparent. How do I know I'm transparent if I'm transparent? And that's the transparency that came to me. And I'm sure this goes further, but I don't know where. So yes. You can see me, but you can't see me. I'm in a container. The container's not there.
Sitting for a long time is tiring.
Yeah. And I think the Bodhidharma came from the West because that's where he was.
Yeah. All right. Well, final words for today. Thank you, Richard. I want you to listen to the universe singing you the 4 vows. Here, I'll give a introduction here. How does it go? Oh. The 4 boundless vows. Thank you very much for being here with me. Thank you to our musicians, Jordan and Michael and Amaryllis, exquisite as always. And thanks to everyone who shared their hearts with us. And John Tarrant should be back from Session next week. Have a wonderful rest of your Sunday.